Jane Kenyon, woman who lived with her husband, Donald Hall, both of them great poets. Donald Hall, as you probably know, has been Poet Laureate of the United States. That's Jane Kenyon's husband. Most recently, I'm not sure if he's still Poet Laureate, but immediate past present, if not. At 47 years of age, 46, she has leukemia. And they do all of the special treatments and get bone marrow transplants out in Washington State, and nothing is working. And at the age of 47, Jane Kenyon is dying. But her words speak on. And when I hear that poem, Otherwise, I got up in the morning and I had cereal and sweet milk and a flawless peach, and it could have been otherwise. And when she said I walked with the dog and then I went and did the work that I love, there's something to be said about doing the work that you love, isn't there? I mean, we spend so much time doing things that we don't enjoy. Jane Kenyon's filled her days doing the work that she loved, and then she said it could have been otherwise. At noon, she recounts as she lay down with her mate, and then in the evening they sit at a dinner with silver candlesticks and have a meal each night. And she said it could have been otherwise. I go to bed in a room full of paintings, planning the next day, knowing that someday it will be otherwise. What matters most to you? Sometimes the priorities and the pettiness of life can really obscure our visions of what's important. There's nothing like a good crisis to get clarity. There's nothing like some serious thing that all of a sudden we realize we're about to lose someone or something that's really important in our lives. And we rearrange our values. At the end of his life, my son Wesley, 33 years of age, was on the phone to me 5 and 6 times a day because he was afraid. He was leaving behind 3 daughters, and there was no hope for his terminal illness. Sometimes he would just call and not really have a point to make, but he found comfort in just breathing into the phone as I would talk to him, and I would quote to him things like Psalm 23. Isn't it interesting how Psalm 23 can become a priority for us when we need it? I didn't look at those calls from Wesley as an interruption to my life. That was my life. Someone met me at the Harbor Cafe last night that I don't know who the man was, and he wanted to know if I was the fellow that had the bookstore and the writers' conference, and wanted to know what happened. Well, it's been a big week for me, and I didn't particularly want to talk about what happened, but as you who are my church family know, it was just impossible to do everything I was doing and keep the bookstore going too, so I gave it to the community center. My son was my priority. Books didn't mean a thing in that hour to me. My son, the time that I had left with Wesley, was most important. What matters the most to you? You can have the best automobiles and the most privilege, but if you have a life without love in your house, it is not a home, it is a house with lifeless love. What are we called to? What's important to you? I would not begin to presume to tell you what should be important to you, but I can tell you for me, it starts with relationships. Relationships are the most important thing to me. And unashamedly, I'll tell you, Catherine comes first. Before this church, before anything else. You were talking about our being leaders here. Before I said yes, I said to Catherine, is this okay with you? Because I checked in with her. Not that I needed permission, but because that's just the way we do business. The priorities of my life begin with relationships. I may not have a lot, but what I have can't be bought. You can't buy good friends who are honest and stick with you through the good times and the bad. You can't buy health. You can't buy a quality of peace of mind. You can't buy that. You can't buy it. What matters the most to you? What matters the most? Jesus wasn't saying it's wrong to have things. He didn't say it was wrong to have possessions. He said, get your priorities in order. The priority of the young man was he just wanted the money from the inheritance. He didn't care about his family. He didn't care about the parent that died. He just wanted the inheritance. Unfortunately, in litigious America, how often is that true? I would be ashamed to have to admit to you how many times at the graveside of someone's dead, I've seen family members get into fisticuffs over the will. The body's not even in the ground hardly. What mattered most to them? I'm here to say to you this morning that I'm grateful with Jane Kenyon that I've got 2 strong legs when I get out of bed in the morning. That I've got a mate that I love. That there's food on the table and we know how to light the candles. And that the reading and the relationships and my love for this church. My dad used to have a dumb saying when he preached. He said, what did he say? It was dumb, but it was killer. He used to look at the people he was preaching to, and he'd say, I wouldn't take $1 million for you, and I wouldn't give a plug nickel for another church. And that's how I love you this morning, and how we love each other in our only perfect ways. Because the values of this community and being here for each other, where it matters that people are ill, or it matters that children feel included in the church, all of those things are important. What matters the most? When it's all gone and your life is on fire like my grandfather's life was on fire that night. What you find is most important speaks a lot. Someone has said religion is not what you do anywhere else but in private. That's where real faith comes in, your real values. Character is not what people see you do, it's what you do when no one's looking. So what's important to you is the question. And I hope that through this service you'll be inspired to reflect and to move and to think deeply of what really matters. And then not just think about it, but act on it. And that's what I'm going to try to do every day when I get out of bed and I look at my mate and say, I am blessed. Amen.
Amen.